Good morning, everybody. Shane McCusker here from Intelligence Software. I'm joined today with my colleague Virpia, and today we're going to be talking about cool tools, mainly recruitment oriented, but a few other bits and pieces. Virpia, how are you?
Not too bad, Shane. Certainly an interesting topic we've got here today. Cool tools in recruitment. Some of these have been around for quite a while, but I think we'll find some cool applications for them today. And then at the end of it, we'll probably have a poll to see who has the coolest tool.
Well, I know, Virpia, that you put a survey out when people were registering for today's webinar, asking them what cool tools they have at the moment, and I know you've put together a little bit of a rundown of the most popular ones. Maybe you can take us through that just to kick us off and see where people are at this moment in time, and through today hopefully we'll influence them in other directions.
Yes, well, the question was, what cool tools are you currently using in recruitment? And not surprisingly, the one that was mentioned the most was actually LinkedIn, with the most mentions. Secondly, we had job boards, which was mainly made up by mentions for Career Junction and PNet. Thirdly, we had intelligence. No surprise there. Surprised it didn't rank higher than that. And then 4 and 5 we had Facebook and Twitter. So interesting to see that of the 5, basically 3 of them is social tools. So by definition, social tools is quite cool. So no surprise there that LinkedIn took the top spot.
Yeah, very interesting to see the results there. It's nice to see we got a mention, given the fact that most people that are taking part in the webinar aren't intelligence customers. Glad to see we're able to influence people in some direction. Okay, I'm going to kick it off and influence you somewhere else. You're looking at my screen, and as you know, we're regular webinarers. Normally I have a wonderful little PowerPoint display which blatantly advertises our own brand. Today it's different. Today I'm using something else. Today I'm using a thing called Prezi, and this is Prezi. Yeah, and you can see it does all sorts of different things to PowerPoint. It's really for presentations, but you just saw me panning and zooming. I can zoom into different slides and create different effects and do different things. I can zoom and I can pan and I can rotate. And it really creates a much more interesting and dynamic way to put presentations together. So many people use PowerPoint. So many people don't really like PowerPoint because it gives relatively static, relatively boring presentations. Prezi's free and it's online, as well as text. You can also embed images and put pictures in there. And you can even embed video straight from YouTube. This is self-talking. Sorry, I did the sound earlier, hopefully coming through. It's a really interesting way to do presenting. You have to run it on. You can also share it, so it's a collaborative tool. Because it's online, I could invite other people to contribute to it and to modify it. You can use it offline as well, because you can download it, so you don't need internet connectivity. Obviously for YouTube you do, but it is a really nice way of doing videos. Okay, how am I tying this into recruitment? Well, Prezi is a free site. Now let me just fiddle with my screen here, see if I can get something working for us. Just that. And minimize this because I'll show you the control panel of Prezi. If you can see that. Prezi, because once I create a Prezi presentation, anybody else can see that because I'd make it public, but that also means you can search. So say, for example, I'm an electronic engineer, I'm looking for an FPGA person, type that in, and it'll click on search, and it'll go and search all the Prezis that associate with FPGA, and of course it gives me names of people that work there. So this could also be a really good sourcing tool. Okay, so that's my cool tool number 1. Let me bring you on to cool tool number 2. I mentioned, sorry Virpia, do you want to come in on me there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, well, if you're doing, I mean, someone once told me that PowerPoint PowerPoint is a surefire way to a bad presentation. But if you are keen on doing bullet points, if you do it on Prezi, at least the bullet points and you read them from the slide, it looks much better. So I quite like Prezi, and it's going to make my my PowerPoint slides that I've got after yours going to look quite static in comparison with what you've just showed. So very cool tool.
Thank you very much. Okay, cool tool number 2. I just happen to be looking at a rather poor picture of Craig Fisher. Fish Dogs. Craig is a world expert in sourcing. If anybody wants to follow him, I highly recommend it. I did a video with him not so long ago, and hopefully it was a reasonably impressive video in the technology sense, if not the content sense from Craig, because the way we're doing videos, you'll have seen me doing a lot of these, is that we do this very clever very clever sort of video type look. We do split screen stuff, we can put captions on it, we can do all sorts of different things with videos. You'll see that I use it for social content, but obviously it's a case where a lot of recruiters are also using video to do candidate interviews or even client interviews. How do we do this complicated editing technique? We use a product called Vodburner. Vodburner. It's another free product, albeit like Prezi, there's a paid for version which allows you to do something a little bit more elaborate, like removing their logos, for example. But it allows you to record, and it allows you to edit and produce really clever videos, and then it allows you to upload them straight up to YouTube. And all it does is it connects into Skype. So you can see this conversation with Craig here. It was just Craig and myself were talking on Skype. I press record on Vodburner, and Vodburner then produces the videos for us. So it's a really nice way of being able to produce pretty good quality videos and do nice things with it. Whilst I'm talking about video, I'm just going to shout out another couple of really cool tools on passing. If you're interested in doing nice slick videos with still photographs, use a package called Animoto. It allows you to animate all your still photographs and put music on it and just take what relatively uninteresting content and make it much more interesting. Google Animoto and see what you come up with. And with regards to video CVs, now this is something, or video interviewing rather, this is something that's been building, and I think it is. Initially, when I first saw it, I thought, no, that's not going to work. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought, so there is something there. Companies like Talent Rooster and a whole raft of other ones are enabling you to set up standard interview questions. Candidates go online. They've got a set time in which they have to answer the question, and they do it whilst you're recording it. So it doesn't replace an interview. It doesn't replace an application, but it's something in the middle of the two. And for large volume recruitment, it seems like a really nice way to integrate video into your selection process. So cool tool number 2 is Skype, it's Vodburner, it's video, and it's a whole raft of video within recruitment tools that are available to you.
Jake, do you think, I mean, looking at this videos, do you think video interviews in South Africa specifically would be welcomed by clients? Would you, as a prospective client, would you rather read a CV or watch a video of an interview of a candidate, or watch a consultant giving feedback on a candidate that they've interviewed online? Would that make it easier? Would it be a hassle? What's your thoughts on that?
A while ago, there were a lot of people getting very excited about the concept of video CVs, and they don't really talk about that anymore because video CVs just don't work. From a recruitment point of view, you cannot flick through a video. So I don't think video CVs really work, but what does work is video as part of the recruitment process or part of the selection process. We use video a lot, as you know, one, because I can't write blogs to save myself, and I much prefer to do a video, and it creates interesting content that people actually watch, whereas if I was to write a blog article, then that would appeal to a different audience and work in a different way to video. Video is much more immediate. It's much better in terms of brand creation. With regards to recruitment, I don't think video CVs are going to work, but the video interview is good. And also, what's also very useful is, say you have a conversation with your client about a job, record it in Vodburner through Skype and send that out to applicants so they get a real feel who the interviewer is, what the job's about, and gives them a much more rounded picture of the prospective vacancy than just a relatively dull and flat job interview, vacancy description would be.
I like that. That's a very good use for video. I mean, it serves a great purpose in terms of giving the candidate better information about the job they're applying for, seeing who the hiring manager is and what they look like and how they sound and who they would possibly be working for. Very interesting.
Cool. Cool. Well, Vipir, over to you. You and I both put together a whole list of cool tools, and my cool tools were much cooler than your cool tools, but definitely different. So tell us about what cool tools you've found.
Okay. I think you can see my screen. My cool tool number one is Google Apps. You can just verify if you can see that okay, Shane? They're coming through? Okay, great. Shane can see that. So, by definition, most recruitment consultants would use Microsoft products, and Google Apps is a fantastic alternative to use to Microsoft. And just if you compare the two, by definition, Google is a lot cooler than Microsoft. It's the same kind of suite of products, but I'm going to go through a couple of the products that Google Apps offers. I'm going to look at the mail, I'm going to look at the calendar, and then we'll look at sites, and we'll look at the docs as well. So one of the main reasons when I switched over to Google Apps a little while ago from Outlook, but I still keep Outlook on my system to synchronize my mail back to Outlook, so if the internet goes down, at least I have a copy of my mail sitting somewhere. So with the just switch that slide. So with the Google Apps Suite, you get quite a lot of tools. And I think it becomes really useful because for two reasons that I think it's cool is one, it's cost effective, and two, it just works. You never have problems with it. It never goes down. It just kind of works, and that's cool with any technology. So I mean, it really becomes cost effective when you have office of 5 to 10 people. You might be looking at getting a server. Server's going to cost you at least $25,000. Where Google Apps offers you a free model, which you can get mail and calendaring and all the rest of it for free, and it also offers a premier solution, which is $50 per user per year, and then you get video and all sorts of other things with. So for first glance, I'm going to look at the mail application, and I'll just switch over to my mailbox. You can see it's a very clean user interface. What I like about the mail function is it's very easy to configure. You don't need any specific, you don't need technicians, you don't need server guys to configure this. All you do is you put in your email address, password, it pulls in your mail, and it's just there for you. I like the add-ins you get as well. They've got a whole raft of add-ins. Specifically, I use one called Boomerang, which if you get a lot of emails, and what I tend to do because I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, I tend to forget about things. What I do, if I get an email in and I don't have to action it immediately, I'll just boomerang it so it comes back when or on the day or the day before I actually have to do something about it, which is very useful. So my inbox is always clear. I don't have emails sitting there that I maybe star or I flag them and they sit there and I forget about them. If I use the Boomerang application, it goes away and it comes back when I want to see it. One of the key things as well with the mail is the search functionality, which is up there. So that's Google's award-winning search, and you get that on all your mail. And one of the things that I didn't like about Outlook was the searching took quite a long time. If you've got a big inbox, lots of mail, searching takes a hell of a long time to get information you want. And with the Gmail function here, the search is really easy, really quick, and you can get things really quickly. Another feature they've launched quite recently was Priority Inbox, which the email system kind of builds up a memory of your most important emails. So you'll see my inbox is broken down into 3 parts. I've got important and unread. So all my important emails goes to the top. Then I have a starred section, which is the things that I need to action at some point today, which is starred. And then the last one on there is everything else. So you can see there it's kind of broken down into 3 parts. So if I get an email from Shane, always goes to the top because he's quite important in my line of work. And then from our clients as well. So all the emails that I really need to take action goes to the top. So that is called Priority Inbox, and I can kind of deauthorize these emails if I don't like them anymore. They're not important. They'll just go in with everything else. So again, a nice little tool that just happens to happen in the background automatically, and it just helps my life a lot. With the email as well, you get 25 gig worth of storage, which is quite a large inbox. So that is the mail function. I'll show you the docs function, which is kind of the replacement of PowerPoint, Excel, and Word, which you'll get the same with Google Docs. So what's nice about this is you can store all your documents in the cloud. I like the sharing option. So very often in the past we used to send spreadsheets and things from one person to another. They change something, comes back to me. I've got to change it, update it, have to send it to someone else. They update it, and I get 13 or 15 sets of documents back. With this one, it's quite easy. I've created one here called Webinar Numbers. I click on that. It's going to open my spreadsheet. And what this is a live spreadsheet. So I can share this with anyone that I really want to. So if I click on, you can see that it's private, only for me. If I click on that, I can change the settings. So I can change that. So I can change that to make it public on the web. I can send anyone the link. I can just make it for my organization. So if I need specific people to have access to the spreadsheet. So if I share it with anyone at Intelligence, and I click Save on that, everyone in our organization can see that spreadsheet now. And if I take that link and I email it to Shane, he can connect straight in on to this document, and we can work on the same spreadsheet at the same time. So if we have conference calls and he sits in Ireland, I'm here in Cape Town, I open the spreadsheet, he opens the spreadsheet, and we discuss all sorts of things recruitment related, and we update the spreadsheet in real time, which is quite a useful function. The third one in the suite is things like calendar. So you can see there, that's my calendar. What I like about the calendar is it's very visual, and I can have everyone in the organization, I can have their calendar on one, and I can decide which of them I want to see, which of them I want to switch off by just clicking on the calendars on the side. So very useful if I want to schedule meetings for colleagues, if I want to see when they'll be available for meetings. And for recruitment, this is quite interesting because you can see when your colleagues are on interviews and when they're not on interviews. And actually, I use 3 email systems. Well, it's synced across 3 email systems, but I use one which is our product called Intelligence. And I sync Intelligence has got a Outlook sync tool, which syncs it back to Outlook. And from Outlook, it syncs into my Gmail, which is quite useful. So I've got 3 different places that updates with my iPhone as well. So actually, there's 4 places it goes by putting it into one spot. So that is my first cool tool, is the Google Apps suite, which includes Gmail, Docs, and Calendar.
Cool. Yeah, I love the Google Docs thing in particular, mainly from a sharing point of view. It really allows an awful lot more collaboration, and if you're working on a Word document, then have to send it on to somebody else for them to edit it. It just does not work. From a collaboration point of view, it's really good. The other tool I'll point out, just as you were talking about email there, and searching on Outlook, which is just really slow. There's a brilliant tool called Zobni, spelled Xobni. Check that out, because one, it gives you really fast searching of your Outlook. It's an Outlook add-in, but it also, whenever an email comes in from somebody, it gives you all their social media links, so you can see who they are on LinkedIn. You can jump to their profile there. Facebook, it pulls up their photograph. You can immediately connect to them on Facebook, or LinkedIn. So it's a really good tool to use in conjunction with Outlook as well. Gmail's different, but it does sort of patch in some of the problems that you've got with Outlook on its own. Well worth looking at. So.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Zobni there. I like Zobni. It's quite a cool, it's a very cool tool just to see whenever you get an email from someone, it picks up automatically, obviously, where else they've posted, if they've got a blog, the latest status update on LinkedIn, Facebook from time to time. But there's also another one which I would also look at if you talk in that category, which is GIST or GIST, whichever one you want to call it. It's G-I-S-T. And the previous one was Zobni. I just see questions coming through. Shane, that's spelled X-O-B-N-I. Is that right? Okay, so that's Zobni and GIST. I think they would both be probably Zobni.com, GIST.com. Go have a look at it. Plug it into your Outlook or Gmail. Really works nice if you want to see who you're getting emails from them and where they are interacting on the web. Sorry, Shane, I just got a couple of questions coming in here, so I'm just going to reply to those while you take...
You work on the questions. Can you give me screen control back again, please? And then what we'll do is I'll move on to my exciting tool number 3. 2 seconds, prepare your speaker. Oh, that's sorted out. Okay, can you see my screen now? Prepare. Cool. Right, I'm up again. Now, what I'm doing is I'm on a browser right now, and this is a Firefox browser. Firefox is important because unlike IE and unlike Chrome, which are the other two browsers that I use regularly, Firefox allows you a whole raft of different extensions that you can add in and toolbars and all sorts of interesting gadgets and gizmos. And one of those gadgets and gizmos is, you will see it in the toolbar at my top, it says Boolean Bar. Really cool tool. Now, as you know, we've done some webinars recently looking at sourcing, and one of the things we talked about was X-ray searches and Boolean searches and how this is really transforming the recruitment industry. And we got so much interest and people asking us, well, how do we learn more about X-ray searches? How do we do this? It's all very well as telling you, but trying to get into the way of doing it is a little bit complex, and Boolean Bar makes it easy. Because what Boolean Bar allows you to do is, if I want to search, I hit the drop down, it gives me all the Google searches, all the Yahoo searches, all the Bing searches, everything I want to do. So if I click on Bing, let's just go for the broad title search. As soon as I click on that, it opens up a page and it puts in a sample of a Boolean X-ray, or in this case a Boolean search, looking for designers, stress engineers, whatever. Yeah, and then all I have to do is modify it a little bit, as I've done here already. I just put South Africa in and it pulls up all the South African profiles for people that are engineers in South Africa, just as a Google search.
Could you just show that again? Just, if you can, just to take that one step back, just show that again for me if you can.
Okay, I'm on my Google bar, or my Boolean bar. I hit the drop down Open Web Search, and what this does is it creates about 150 different Boolean searches. They're all just built in, and all it's going to do is it's going to create one for me. So if I wanted to do in Google, say a broad search in Google for resumes, see, it's very recruitment oriented. So in title resume, or in title resume of, or curriculum vitae, blah, 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 blah. And then it removes things that are examples. So this is just looking for resumes, yeah? And obviously I'm going to put in something that I'm looking for. Earlier on I was doing an FPGA, which Field Programmable Gate Array for those electronics people out there. Run my search, and I'm going to get CVs of people that have got FPGA as part of the thing. So immediately I'm finding web pages with CVs that I can go and do things with. Is that useful, Beer? Is that a cool tool?
Yeah, it's definitely a cool tool. It does take care of all the, especially for people that, is not familiar with things like in title, in URL, in resume, in site, or whatever it is they need to put in that long list in there. It does work really well for them to have it done for them. Very cool.
And some of the other stuff it does, I mean, I was asked the other day for how do you search Facebook. Now, I hadn't really searched Facebook before, but you've got social media searches, and these are all Facebook. Do you remember the X-ray searches we were doing on LinkedIn? It gives you X-ray searches of Facebook, Twitter, Craigslist, MySpace, and all I did when somebody asked me about it was I created, just clicked on Boolean Bar, it gave me the format for a X-ray search of Facebook. Obviously, it gives you examples. I wasn't interested in California there, so I could try South Africa, run that search. I'm getting audit or CPA in South Africa, and it's giving me Facebook people profiles for that. So it's a really quick way to do really clever searches.
That's quite cool. I mean, searching Facebook is a nightmare at best, and to have that done that way, that's a cool tool. That gets my vote for a very cool tool.
Okay, I haven't even got started yet. Cool tool, the next cool tool for me is, this is different. This is not the Boolean Bar now, but this is something that is really, really clever. You'll see up my toolbar at the top, we've got a little W symbol, and that stands for Outwit. Got the W in Outwit. If I hit it down, I'm going to go for Outwit Docs. Now, you'll see on I've started from my resume search, which was looking for, what we were looking for, engineers, South Africa, whatever it was. Whenever I go over to Outwit Docs, what it's doing is it's going for each of those web pages, looking through them all, and scraping out all the documents. And what are those documents? Those documents are going to CVs. If I hold a cursor over it, it tells me. So this person, I don't know what this is, so let's try and find this then. Open this document. It does take us to open up. You'll see it squizzling at the top. File downloaded. Open it up. What have I got? I've got a CV. Stuart Deems. And who is he? South African. He works agriculture engineering. Got all his qualifications. Now, so starting with the Boolean bar, I did a search for CVs, move over to Outlook Docs, and it scrapes all those documents. I can just select them all in bulk. I can save them. I can import it into Intelligence if you use Intelligence or your information management system, whatever it happens to be. And it's a really quick and clever way to find documents. So I'm using Outwit Docs. What do you think of Outwit Docs, Pierre?
I think my questions box just exploded when you showed all that. Just to explain to people where they can get all these things, right? The first one you used was Outwit Hub, right? That's an extension on Firefox or Internet Explorer. You can download that from their website, or can you download that from the extensions?
No, I would just go onto their website, which is just Outwit. Just Google Outwit, and you'll. Let's try it here. Let me just do these. I think I'm sure it's just outwit.com. I think. But let's see.
Okay. Well, the first tool you used was the Outlook, not the Outlook, the Outwit app, which sits on your browser, right? That you can install straight from the site, which Shane has just Googled. The second tool you used to scrape them was Outwit Docs.
Outwit Docs. Yes, Outwit Docs pulls documents through. Really clever tool, and you do your X-ray searches to find pages with documents on it, and then Outwit Docs will then go and look for all the links and pull in all the documents, whether they be PDFs, whether they be Word docs, whatever it is. So it's a really powerful way to get raw information, and the internet is full of that. The internet is full of people posting resumes, CVs up onto websites, and it's just there for the taking. Really, really powerful tool. Be impressed.
Yes. Excellent.
I've got more.
Go for it.
Okay. One of the other tools, this is an X-ray search that I always struggle to remember how to do. It's an X-ray search looking for email addresses. Because email addresses, Google doesn't include @ symbols and doesn't include dot symbols in its searches. So you need to be a little bit more creative. And all I did for this was, where was it? A blogs company people email search, and I went to an email search, and it gives me the Boolean string to find email searches. I changed the domain.
Okay, sorry, just to go one step back, that is on your Boolean Bar. Again, the app you downloaded, Boolean, so you looked on the Boolean Bar, blogs company people, and email search, and from there you ran the search. Right, got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very simple. I've just put that in. I can show you if you like. I just did email search, and I did search for company domain. It opens up a browser, puts in a sample domain name, merrick.com. But all I've done here is change that over to F&B, South African Bank, because I thought, let's go and see what we can scrape out of a domain. So if I'm interested in finding email addresses for people who work in that company, this is a really good way to find it. According to Google, it's found 298,000 results, but that's nonsense. Never believe that number. I think there's about 300. And that's pretty cool. That gives me a really good way to find email addresses. What I did the other day, we were growing the South African Recruiters LinkedIn group. If you're not a member, please join. South African Recruiters group on LinkedIn. Really, really powerful site now. We've got thousands of people involved in it now, so it's growing at a rate. To promote that, I thought I'm going to do some email searching, find recruiters, put in a Boolean string like this, and pulled up a pile of websites listing email addresses for particular domains that I knew were recruitment companies. So I was able to get those. But the question is, how do we then get from here, a Google search of email addresses, how do I actually get it? Cool tool number 5, I think, at the moment. As well as Outlook Docs, we've also got this wonderful tool called Outwit Hub. Now, this page, I've set my Google results to give me 100 results here, and that just gives me lots. What this is called an internet scraper, and it allows you to create really complicated ways or really simple ways of just pulling information from the internet in bulk. We have tools in Intelligence, a good bit more sophisticated than this one, which do all sorts of clever things with regard to scraping LinkedIn, but that's because we know what we're doing in terms of what information we want from LinkedIn. This is a much more general and generic scraper, which allows you to do all sorts of clever things. And the easiest thing to do from this is if I click on the Emails tab, it pulls in all the email addresses found on that page. And I've got 100 of them, or how many have I got? It's found 53 of them. And that's page number 1. I can move on to the second page, and it finds a whole lot more email addresses. And if I want to select one of these, Control A, I can then export this to Excel in whatever way you want it, Excel, CSV file. It gives me a list of email addresses. All I did was put commas between them, drop them into my LinkedIn group invite, and send out a whole pile of invites to join the LinkedIn group. Really, really good way to scrape information quickly off the internet and then do something useful with it. Cool tool, Vipria?
Definitely a cool tool. I mean, what you could do with this, possibly, is run a search for something like HR and .co.za. So anything that's got HR at .co.za, so HR at any domain in South Africa, you could actually run that search and see what you find and send them either candidates or your services, or a bit spammy, but it's certainly a way to get your name out there.
Yeah, obviously, if you're scraping the internet for email addresses, you're going to find a whole lot because there are so many out there. I mean, the question then is, what do you do with it? But this isn't just about email. Outwit Hub is a massively powerful tool. I was also looking at it from a point of view of scraping some job boards. In that, why not scrape job boards to look for what jobs are there, who's recruiting, get contact details of people that are recruiting on job boards. Job boards, generally speaking, are pretty easy to search, and you can create strings here to. There's a bit of programming work involved in it if you really want to use Outlook Hub to its best, but there's an awful lot of stuff you can pull out of this very, very simply.
Yeah, you're actually not mentioning actually searching the job boards for CVs itself, because they are very secure and you can't get into it. I think the question came through again that you can't actually search CVs within a job board. So just what you are mentioning here is just searching either jobs or freely available emails on a job board and not the actual CV itself.
Yes, I mean, with Outwit, we're searching available information. That isn't to say that somebody with a little bit of intelligence and wit couldn't pull CVs off a job board. I dare say it's been done many times in the past, and no doubt will be done many times in the future. But this tool is really about being a really simple tool to get large amounts of information off the internet. Combined with Outwit Docs, you can see how powerful the Outwit suite is, and it's all free. This costs nothing at all. Most of the stuff we're talking, and the Boolean Bar today, let's go back to it. It's free. I want to show you a couple of other little bits about the Boolean Bar. Obviously, it creates these X-ray searches, these Boolean strings. It also gives you a list of recruiters on Twitter. These are people that I would probably highly recommend following, and in fact, I actually know most of these people. Animal does a radio program on Blog Talk Radio, well worth talking to. I see he's also tweeting with a guy called Mike Notaro at the moment, another guy who is big into all this email scraping of CVs. Craig, as anybody, well, you know, earlier on I mentioned him because we did a video with him very recently. Bill Borman is probably, out of everybody in the world, my main social media mentor. Bill is rated within the top 10 most influential people in recruitment globally, and I can also announce today that Bill is going to be in South Africa in November because we're running one of his conferences. True South Africa is happening in November, both in Joburg and Cape Town. It's going to be a really exciting event. We're looking for venues at the moment. We're also looking for sponsors at the moment. That will be a very exciting event later on. Eric, I know because he runs Monster in Boston. Kathy, another really important guy to follow, Boolean Black Belt. Keep an eye on him. Recruiter guy, works for Pepsi, interesting, influential guy. And Ryan actually is involved in this site because if you're interested in the Boolean Bar, the site to go to is, and this is also, yesterday was the first time I looked at this website actually, and I wish I'd looked at it before because it's got all sorts of interesting stuff on it. It just so happens, what do you know, that was a picture of Craig and Jeff and Maha there. This is a site about recruiting tools, all sorts of interesting stuff. Look at the cool tools tab. Let's go to sourcing tools. Look at all the different tools it's talking about here. Scroll on to page number 2. You can see there's a bit of motivation here. What do you know? One of the cool tools on page 2 is an interview with Shane Prescott, Recruit Fit. So it's nice to see that our influence is spreading around the world. And after that, there's Bill Borman's doing something on social recruiting tools as well. So the world of clever stuff is out there for the taking. Have a look at this website. Also look at our website, well, the intelligence website and also the South African Recruiters Group website, because there's all sorts of interesting stuff there. So just to highlight that, then that is recruitingtools.com, and they're involved with the Boolean Bar, or just Google Boolean Bar and you'll be able to get it, and it's a really cool tool. So Viveka, over to you. Can you beat that in terms of cool recruiting tools?
I'm certainly going to try. Right. The ones that I want to look at, you can just tell me when you see my screen. I am going to look at a couple of tools, 3 for Facebook and 1 for LinkedIn. Do you've got anyone left, or is that it? These are the last ones we're gonna talk about? You haven't got any left in your little arsenal of cool tools?
I can make up a few if you want me to, but
No,
I
that's
think
okay.
I've done cool enough today.
All right. Okay, so these ones I want to talk to you today is cool tools for whenever you want to advertise jobs on your Facebook page. And there's actually 3 that I found that looks really interesting. One is called Work for Us, there's Branch Out, and then there is Buzzbuzznet. Now the first one I want to look at is the Work for Us, and I kind of like this app because it's my favorite one of the 3 I looked at, because it allows you to do really clever things, and it's very integrated into the tools you already use, like your career site or your applicant tracking system, and it can plug into that really easily. And I'll just mention just a couple of cool things that this little tool actually does. So what it's a tab that sits on your Facebook page. You might have a wall there. You might have About Us, whatever tabs you've got on your Facebook fan page, and then this one creates an additional tab that is Work for Us, and it lists all your jobs. So the first thing it does, you can actually pull your jobs from the internet. So what it will actually do is you type in your company name, and it will go look at all the different jobs you've got available. So if you advertise on Career Junction or PNet, it will actually find those jobs on those sites, pull them in, and you don't have to capture them at all. So if they're already on the web, it just pulls in all your jobs and it sticks it on your Facebook fan page. You can then receive applications, so candidates will actually click on the job, they can apply for it. Those applications, you can either, depending on if you pay for the feature, you can feed that straight back into your applicant tracking system, like if you're using intelligence or anything else. You can feed that straight back into your applicant tracking system. You can have people apply via email, whichever option you prefer. Once you post jobs, you can also auto-tweet that to your company account. So again, you're doing a lot of distribution. It goes on Facebook, it goes on Twitter, it goes onto your career site if it sits there. And then, of course, you can also receive applications even if there's not a job for them. Even if they go onto your Facebook fan page, they like what you do, there isn't any jobs for the candidate at that stage, they can also click on send you a CV, and they can also apply without there being a job for them. The reports is very good on this app. It shows you the amount of views you get, the amount of applicants you get on each job, the amount of likes you get, which is very important to measure these kind of things, especially on social media, to see if you're getting return for the money you're spending on them. And then also they've got a cool little feature where you can actually advertise your jobs on Facebook. So for every job, you can create a advertising campaign. So if you're looking for recruitment consultants between the ages of 18 and 25 that mentions recruitment in their job history, or people that's got a degree from Stellenbosch University or from Tukkies, you can go and add that onto a advertising campaign, which is quite interesting to explore that as well, because you might get a lot of clicks from it. You might not. I haven't tested this before, but it's certainly an interesting concept to advertise your jobs by running a campaign for the most important jobs that you have. So that is it's called Work for Us. The product is designed for a company called Work for Labs. Now the second one, and there's just the pricing if you're interested in it. It can get quite pricey if you take the top end and you advertise quite a lot on Facebook, but it starts at $9 a month. And you can see the number of job slots you get for that is only 3, and you'll see also you get some free advertising for every package that you take. So you can see that it goes from $9 a month right up until $800 a month. So interesting concept, interesting tool. So the second one I want to look at is called Branch Out. Now this is I like this one because this is the only one that to some extent acts a lot like LinkedIn, in the fact that it will show you, if you're looking for a specific company or you're looking to work for a specific company, it will show you who in your Facebook network has connections with those companies and can potentially introduce you. So you can see this is just the one I've got on my profile. So it's got a bit of games on it. In fact, you can select which of your Facebook friends you'd rather work with, and that sends them an email. So it does encourage a bit of interaction. Complaints from this app that it can be quite spammy. You do get a lot of emails from people that use it. But again, what I like about it is the fact that I can look for any company. Let's say, for instance, I'm interested in Microsoft. So you can see that there's the top companies. I've got access to about 6,078 companies. So if I'm interested to work for Microsoft, all that I can do is just see who I know within Microsoft. So you can see there is 23 friends within my network, or friends of friends. So you can see that I've got friends, and then I've got friends of friends within my Facebook networks that works or has something to do with Microsoft. And you can see there's a talent sourcer, useful people to know, and there is a senior recruiter, and to some extent I'm connected to these people through other people, which is quite useful. So that's Branch Out. Really like this app purely for the fact that it connects your Facebook network. So all those useful friends that I've accepted many years ago, they might come in handy to some extent. The third one I want to look at is not really an application process, but it is called Buzzbuzznet. And what this is, it'll give you a framework which you can build a website within your Facebook fan page. So this really allows you to explore different things. It gives you custom themes. It's really easy to set up. It allows you some dashboards where you can send messages. You can manage a whole pile of accounts in this tool. So it really is a nice little application where you can build company websites without having to employ a designer or someone that's going to cost you a lot of money. And from that point of view, it has a cool factor associated with it. It is quite pricey though. You'll see those are the prices on buzzbuzz.net and the features you get from it. So it can get quite pricey if you take the most expensive options. So those are the three tools I've got for Facebook. It is Work for Us, Branch Out, and buzzbuzz.net. Now, the last one that I want to show you today is probably the best one I've got, which is the LinkedIn browser toolbar. Now, what this would allow you to do is it will allow you to either search LinkedIn straight from the site. So you can see if I'm on a YouTube site here, at the top you can see there I can search LinkedIn straight from my little Google search at the top. I can search LinkedIn jobs. But what I can also do, which is quite interesting with this tool, is distribute content, which we do quite a lot of. I mean, we've got a lot of videos that goes out. We've got a lot of discussions that we put on LinkedIn itself. So if I want to share this video that I've got here, you can see there at the top right-hand corner, this is a toolbar that I can install straight from LinkedIn site. I'll just click on that toolbar. You can see there's a couple of things I can do here. I can go to my profile. I can add connections. And the one I'm looking for is that Share on LinkedIn button. So if I click that one, you'll see a separate window opens up. And what it's basically doing, it's attaching the page that I'm on. So you can see that that's the YouTube page. That's our YouTube page with intelligence. And now I can post this to my update. So if I put in there, here is our previous video, and I just copy that. What's also, and this is probably the best thing about this, is the post to group. So if we all belong to the South African recruiters group, so I'm going to post it to that group. I might want to post it to the South African HR group, and I'll just put in there, here's our latest video. And I'll just put that in there. And then the third part, I can also send it to individuals. So if I've got this video, like Shane, which would be a really good use if you use that Boolean toolbar and you pull that email addresses off, you can just stick them in here and you can send whatever content you want to distribute to a lot of people. And you can just add a message there. So if I want to send that, let's say I'm going to send that to Shane as well. And I can add multiple people in there. So I'll send it to Shane. And what this is now going to do is going to share that video across multiple platforms on LinkedIn. If I click share, off it goes. That's now done. If I move to the South African Recruiters Group and I just refresh the page there, there we go. There it is. Here is our latest video. And that is displayed. You should get a chain. It's gone across 2 groups. And now I'm just sitting back and waiting for the people to tell me how cool my tools are.
That's a pretty cool tool. I think last night when we were talking about these, both of us were quite blown away by that one. It really is a brilliant thing. It's probably of more interest to us in terms of being fairly heavily involved in distributing social media content. But you know, it doesn't take much to look at the applications within any business to see just where it can go to.
Yeah, I mean, you could do, if you're if you're a niche recruiter and you belong to engineering groups, I mean, it is quite a useful tool to distribute jobs. I mean, it might be labeled as spam, but I think if you do it right, it does save a lot of time to send the jobs to various groups and get people to look at your site.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest problems about creating content and putting ideas out there is the process to distribute it. And this is it's a really nice way of getting distribution. It doesn't have to be spammy. It's just a really clever tool to enable you to do it. Okay, so that's sort of where we're coming to the end of our time now, but I'm just going to recap over the sort of stuff we were talking about today. I started off today, I think, Virpa, you have a poll that you're going to put up. We're just interested to know what people think of today in terms of how we changed your ideas as to what the coolest tools are. I started off today talking about Prezi, my presentation tool, which allows me to zoom and pan and do interesting things. I then went on to talk about VodBurner and the video stuff we were looking at. I also gave a mention to Animoto and Talent Rooster. Virpa then spoke about Google Apps, would be Google Docs or Gmail or the various other things, the Google Calendar. I spoke about the coolest tool of today, just quick note for you, the Boolean Bar and Outwit. That should be two things. They're separate things. Outwit is just brilliant. It really is a clever tool. It does take a bit of getting used to. Boolean Bar doesn't take a lot of getting used to. It's just there for you. It just works. Virpa was talking about his Facebook apps, which do vacancy posting. Then the one that we were looking at just now is our LinkedIn browser. And then the one that I thought you were going to list there was just intelligence, which I still think is a cool tool. I mean, the work that we do here is really looking at this stuff to try and understand what the essence of it is, what's really going to work well for recruiters, taking those ideas and trying to build it in and integrate it and just make it so that the best approaches and the best ideas out there are at the fingertips of people in the industry wanting to recruit better and make more placements. That's the emphasis of what we do. I'm going to be talking tomorrow I've been asked to speak at the APSO conference in the Western Cape, which is really exciting to be doing that. I'm going to be talking about all sorts of interesting things in terms of just the processes to try and help recruitment companies work in more effective ways. So if any of you are at the APSO conference tomorrow, give me a shout. Let me know what you think of today's presentation. Later on this afternoon, we're doing another webinar, and we're actually being joined by a gentleman called Martin Lees. Martin runs a LinkedIn group called Cool Free Recruiting Tools. If you're not a member of that group, please join it. It's also a source of wonderful bits of technology and ideas. Martin's a nice guy. I know him well from the various conferences that we've jointly attended. Well switched on guy, a really good sourcer, so hopefully he's going to be talking about some sourcing techniques this afternoon. I know none of the people listening to this webinar have signed up for this afternoon, but don't worry, we're going to record this one and this afternoon's one, so we're going to put it on the website, and hopefully you can catch up on what's being talked about then. So chances are that this afternoon we'll have discovered more cool tools to talk about, and we'll see how it goes. Looks like our Boolean Bar and Outwit seems to be a clear winner, Virpa. So, I think you're buying the coffee this afternoon then.
You absolutely wiped the floor there with my cool tools. After 56% of the audience voted, you absolutely wiped the floor with me with 100% of the votes.
Yeah, it's a cool tool. Boolean Bar, Outwit Docs, Outwit Hub, well worth looking at. Go and check it out. There's a whole lot more where that came from. Keep in touch with us. We're churning stuff out. And also follow what we're doing with intelligence and the stuff we're generating there. We haven't talked really about intelligence at all, but it's a pretty cool tool as it stands. We like to think. Certainly we try and make it as cool as possible. Anything more to add, Virpa?
No, that's it. We've got another session running this afternoon at 2:30. So I've got some comments coming through. Looks like people are excited to see you at the APSO conference. Being followed by the magician. Are you the magician? You're not doing magic tricks on stage, are you?
I'm not. I don't think so.
Because the theme is something to do with magic. You've got a juggling act.
A magical event in APSO, and our MC is a well-known magician and performer, and he will be talking right after me. So I look forward to seeing how that goes tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, thank you to everyone that listened in. We had quite a good audience here today. We'll probably look to post a link to this on our website at some point. Probably needs a bit of editing as well. And then I think what we'll do is we'll just put all the tools with links to where you can get them. We'll send those out in an email as well, just so everyone can have access to them. But thank you very much to Shane. Thank you very much for everyone that attended. We hope to speak to you soon.